Hey guys, how's everybody doing tonight? I'm going to give a couple minutes for everybody to log on. Well, can somebody please give me a one in the chat if you can hear me loud and clear? How's my audio? I see we got 3. Hey, thanks, Ron. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, guys, I'm going to get into some good stuff today. I think there's going to be a lot of people maybe. Greg, yeah, awesome. Yeah, was that you on the street? Was that you? I was running to get lunch real quick and then go play golf. There's a really good virtual golf studio in town. I was getting ready to go there, and I had some things to take care of in the condo complex. It's always something. So if I seem a little tired, it's because I am. But yeah, we got three people here now. But if you guys are looking to, oh, nice. Dude, you're back in the States already. All right, nice. But I hope you had a good flight home. You must be from New York City. I'm from Jersey, so I get it. But yeah. You know, I think with Bitcoin going through the roof, you're going to get some people who are looking to come down here and do some investing. And I want to make sure, you know, people have the best information they can get to make an educated decision. There's a lot of people who've moved down here after COVID, and they don't really have the full background that I like for people to have. But guys, I'm going to get this rolling, so it's time to do this correctly.
Yeah. Welcome to Compai's Expat channel. Everything Expat.
Welcome to Compai's Expat channel. I'm Compai. I am Sosua's voice of reason. I talk everything expat. Guys, tonight, I want to get into where to buy for the best investment property. I want to see people get the best bang for their buck, especially if you guys are looking to get some real estate out of it, or you want to get some rental income out of this. So everything is about location. But before you even start thinking about making money, buying a piece of property, renting it out, making some extra income, you got to have your financing straight. A lot of guys come down and think, hey man, I'm just going to buy something. Well, there's really not good mortgages down here. They have mortgages down here, but they're balloons, which means is you're going to get a payment for 5 years based on a 15-year amortization. But at the end of that 5 years, you got to have that note paid off. It's just a wealth transfer. I don't even think you can get them in the States anymore. I don't think they allow them. So before you go looking where to buy property, you got to have the money to do it. A lot of guys take a home equity loan off their primary residence, and I did that for my first condo. It's a good way to do it. You're able to write it off. So, or cash is king. You know, cash. You know, and this is predominantly a cash market. It is changing. A lot of you might get somebody who will hold a mortgage, and I'm not a big fan of guys. Not a big fan of the owner holding a mortgage for you. And I have a video where I talk about this. Because if you miss 3 payments, they take the property back. It's not like the States where you get a quick claim deed at settlement, and then there's a whole long, drawn-out foreclosure process. Title doesn't change until that debt's paid in full. So technically, the person who sold you the house, if you're paying a mortgage on it, still basically owns it. You know, you still bought it, you're still in the process, but you won't get your title until that debt's paid. So it's real easy for him to go through the legal process to say, you didn't meet your obligations of that mortgage, so I'm taking it back. And I know guys who sold the same property 3 and 4 times. Because when you get into property down here, everybody's just like, hey, I'm going to go buy, but nobody thinks about maintenance. Nobody takes into consideration condo fees or HOA fees. They will eat into your profit. And the other thing nobody thinks about is you have to pay a property manager if you're not down here. And that will eat into your profit. I remember years ago, it was $50 a month just to have him watch one condo, and then I paid him a percentage of every rental coming in. But even today, maintenance, even today, man, I had to replace a pressure tank in my condo complex. And a simple job turned into an all-day affair. It's easier said than done down here. And a lot of guys are down here and they're talking about doing things down here and getting things done. It's not as easy as people are making it out to be. And I want the layperson to understand that. And that's the real big thing is. So make sure you have the ability to purchase that property free and clear of a mortgage. You know, you don't want to get behind any payment plan down here, because it won't take much for you to get in trouble, especially after coming out of a summer we had. I haven't seen it this low since 2011, 2012. A lot of people have not made the money that they wanted to make. So with that said, let's say you're like Greg and you got Team XRP going, you're making some money off that crypto. Congratulations, Greg. I love hearing people make money. So where would you want to buy? If you're going to buy, at this point in the ballgame, if we're talking about Sosua, you should know Sosua already. You shouldn't have it narrowed down from another country to this country. So I'm just taking that right off the table. You know you want to live in Sosua. So where do you want to live in Sosua? You should have a good idea. The best bang for the buck on rentals is downtown Batey. So let's just talk brass tacks here, guys. All right, let me put myself, all right, I'm in here in picture. All right, guys. Now, this is a map that I just downloaded real quick off of Google Maps. Now, if you're looking at the bottom of the map, you have Playa Sosua. Now, I'm going to draw like a sideways rectangle. And what you have is, on the bottom, Playa Sosua is the end. This is the bottom of this. Now, you follow the Highway 5, and it runs pretty much parallel with the ocean. Now, when you get to the part where I'm going to give everybody a landmark, a lot of people should know where Club Residential is. It's about a 7-minute walk from downtown. If you draw that X from the bottom of the beach, Sosua Beach, up along the highway, got the ocean on the left, that top marker is going to be where Club Residential is. So let me give you guys some landmarks. Imagine if you're walking from the beach, you're going to be walking down Pedro. Obviously, you're going to pass Smags on the corner. The next landmark I'm going to give you is Banco Santa Cruz. All right. Now you're going to walk another 3-4 minutes. You're going to be at Hotel Europa. The next 3 or 4 minutes, you're going to be at Club Residential. Casa de Compai is 1 block away from Hotel Europa. And in the other direction, it's 1 block away to Club Residential. So that's the sweet spot. That's where you're going to get the most bang for your rental income. The reason being, people can leave Casa de Compai, my condo complex, and they can walk to Playa Sosua in less than 10 minutes, 12 minutes if you're a slow walker. They can be downtown 5-8 minutes. Nobody needs to rent a car. Nobody needs a moto. Some guys do. I get that. You know, they go to Cabarete and other things. But that's that sweet spot. That's where you're going to get the most bang for your rental dollar. Once you go on the other side of the highway, your rental income will drop, because that is a death trap walking across that highway. I live in a gated community on the other side of the highway. I live in Residencial Hispaniola. I love it, but I drive, and I hate driving here. But I would not want to be walking every day to cross that highway. And your clients don't want to do that either. So as you get on this side of the highway as well, away from the downtown area, everything goes uphill. Believe it or not, that affects a lot of people wanting to rent there. They want to be downtown where it's flat. So you want to be close to the beach. And that's the big thing. Every tourist destination, I call it the anchor. What is that draw of that town? Well, it's Sosua, the beach. It's Playa Sosua. Really, that is what draws, that's what put us on the map. Everything else is an added benefit. It's extra fun. The beach is the hub. So the farther you get away from that beach, the less your income's going to be. Now, when you start getting into Playa Chiquita and farther down, it's real hard to market that. So if you're going to be buying downtown El Batey, I'm not a real estate agent, so I'm not trying to sell you anything. I don't have listings. I got two good friends of mine who are real estate agents, and I have another person that I respect a lot. Like I say in a lot of my videos, if they haven't been here pre-COVID, think really hard for taking their advice. And the reason I say this all the time is because it was such a boom. Every money was just flooding down here. It was just coming in. And everybody was making money. People were building, a lot of building going on. People were just getting out of Canada and America, and they were, especially Canada, they were just coming down here and just buying and buying and buying. And that just drove up prices. And it's still going to that extent. It slowed down. So, just to give you an example, my villa almost doubled in price from January 2020 when I bought it to November of 2020. It was incredible. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. We don't have the bubbles that creates a giant correction. Everything goes in plateaus. So basically, to give you an example, when I bought my first condo and the garden condos in 2020, I bought my first condo in 2010 and I sold it in 2020. I bought it for $74,000. I sold it for $74,000. But I had all those years of using it. So I made my money back on it, just about 100% from me renting it out and me using it. So I did very well. But things go stagnant here for years, and then they'll inflate up, and then they'll go stagnant again, and then they'll inflate up, and then they'll go stagnant. That's the cycle. That's why flipping does not work down here. And if the guys who are talking about flipping are buying extremely distressed properties, and they're buying them to be able to flip, you have to get these properties. I made my money. My side hustle always was buying old Victorian homes in southern New Jersey and redoing them, doing the plumbing, doing the electric, doing all the work myself. That's how I made my sweat equity. Plus working two jobs to fund that. That's why I was able to retire at 47. That's how I know real estate market. And I would always buy in the downturn. And I would never flip. I know so many guys that would get into this flipping and they would acquire all these properties, and then something would change in the market and they would lose them all. Seen it at least 2 or 3 times since I've been a kid. And I've been buying properties, my own property, since I was 20. So things go stagnant here, and then they increase in price. And these guys are buying in places I would not want to buy in. But for them to be able to do that, they need to get these distressed properties. Now, I'm all for buying distressed properties. That's how I made my money. Casa de Compai being one of them. I restored 3 condos there, then built the 3-story that has all my 6 units. So I'm all for it. But you need to know where you're getting in at. So let's talk about if I were to go back into buying more condos, where would I buy? What are my 3 safe places? Club Residential, the garden condos, and El Neptuno. I'm not saying that there's not other ones that are good. Hispaniola Sol is a good one. Obviously Infinity Blue anything on the water is good. But I'm keeping it realistic for us guys that are just, you know, your average Joe Blow working guy like myself. They're the places that have the best rental income as well, because not everybody wants to pay the top dollar to rent in a place that has that's on the ocean. And there's other reasons that they're not as good either. They're the three places that I think you're going to get what I believe. If you invest in those places, you're going to get the best return on your dollar for rental income. The place has to be marketable. It has to look good. It has to function well. You know, what I like about being my own owner of my own condo complex, I can control the narrative. I can control the image. I can control the marketing. I can control who I rent to, who I don't rent to. I can control the personality of that condo complex. So you really need to understand the place that you're buying into. What is it known for? Club Residential is known as an old German condo complex. It's extremely well run, extremely well maintained. They run a tight ship there. That will hold, for me, I believe that will hold its value. The garden condos, I remember when Ron Blissett redid that. That used to be, believe it or not, a hotel. Just like you see those condos now is exactly what they were. Some people called them, I think it might even been an all-inclusive. Way before my time, but I'm just, you know, telling what people have told me. I believe it was called Ocean One, something like that. But they were exactly the same. Great layout. The condos are laid out great. It's well maintained. Phyllis does a great job running it. You're going to get your return on your investment there. People want to rent there, and couples want to rent there. Single guys want to rent there. Digital nomads want to rent there. Whoremongers want to rent there. It's a wide net you're throwing to get that rental income, just like Casa de Compai. I don't care what you do behind closed doors as long as I don't have to see it or hear it or smell it. As long as it's with consenting adults, I don't care. That's why I get Canadian couples who come in, and I get the single guys who come in, and I get the digital nomads. The other one is El Neptuno. It's predominantly 2 bedrooms, but it's been here forever. It's well maintained. It's managed extremely well, and people want to buy there. So it has the reputation. So there's places like Greg's like, what about Europa? Europa, it fits a need. Would I buy in Europa? Not really. I could have bought a lot of those units for 25 to 45,000. I don't like Hotel Europa. I don't think the rate of return is good in Hotel Europa. Now, are there people making money in Hotel Europa? Absolutely. It has a purpose. It fits a need, and if that's the lane you want to run in, by all means do it. A good developer, a good property investor, he knows, yeah, I can make money here, but that's for a different breed of person. I'm saying the person I'm talking to doesn't have the experience to do that, doesn't have the background to take an old apartment and fix it up. Because if they did, they probably wouldn't be really watching me right now because they can do it themselves. I would not invest in Hotel Europa. I have no problem if anybody does. Hey, it's your money, you do it. And it's not just, the reason I'm talking about Hotel Europa, because Greg Nelson said, what about Europa? That's the only reason I'm bringing it up. There's a lot of other places that are in the same condition as Hotel Europa. If you're going to buy in a condo complex or a gated community, the first thing you want to do is you want to pull those HOA, what are the rules and regulations? What am I allowed to do and what am I not allowed to do? And then you want to read that, because where I live, you can't play loud music. You can't have girls screaming by the pool. You can't have girls walking from your front door to the front gate. They have to be in a taxi. It's run very strict. That's because Werner, who owns it, he wants his gated community to have a certain reputation, a certain personality. That's his that's his right. He's driving that for a specific market. So if you're if you're the guy that wants to rent to couples, let's just say, you're not going to buy a piece of property that caters to the whoremonger crowd. You won't get your market, so now you're going to have to adjust. So you need to know, what is that condo complex known for? How do you do that? Well, there's a lot of experts online. DR1, go post your questions on DR1. What do you think about this condo complex? Who rents there? What is it known for? Do your research, because the last thing you want to do is buy something that you're going to have regrets. And I have neighbors in Hispaniola who are extremely upset because he can't play his loud bachata music at 2 a.m. because the guards tell him to shut it down, and then he gets called into the office. A good gated community, a good condo complex will enforce their rules, and they will hold you accountable. Where I live, they can take you to court and force you to sell. I don't know how they do it. I don't know the legal process for it, but I've seen it happen. I have a good buddy of mine who just bought a villa because the guy knew he had to sell because it was in litigation. So he just got in and went. So you really want to know where you're buying. Know who you want to rent to, and know the price point you want to rent. And the other thing that it's really important is that condo complex, is it financially solvent? You got to pay HOA fees. How much of that money's in the bank? Does that condo complex have an emergency fund? I have, for my condo complex, I have a certain amount of money I don't touch. What if my generator goes? What if something, there's, God forbid, somebody does something in a condo, I have to, there's an emergency fund for a reason. And then I have funds for, I got the emergency fund, then I have the savings, and then I have the working fund. So you got to make sure that those condo complex, it's financially healthy, because the last thing you want to do is an assessment. What if the roof is leaking? Well, we need $30,000 to fix the roof. I've seen that in the garden condos. We need to assess everybody $500. So now everybody's screaming, I got to come up with an extra $500. It shouldn't bother. It shouldn't be a financial burden to people, but you'll be surprised. Because when it comes down to it, you're one owner of 48. You're one owner of so you need to really know where you're buying and know the personality of the people that will be your neighbors. Because if you're trying to generate rental income and you're renting to a couple or a digital nomad, and half the people in your complex are there for the weekend and they're enjoying the activity of Sosua while blaring their music until 2 a.m, you're not going to get the clients you want. It's not easy to do business down here. A lot of people don't really understand just how hard it is. It is real hard to do business down here. I'm thankful to be down here. I've been down here a long time. I've seen a lot of investors come and go. I've seen a lot of guys lose a lot of money. And I don't want you guys who are coming down here for that to happen to you. I suggest if you're looking to buy somewhere, see if you can't rent there. And rent during the high season to see how it's run when it's jam-packed. Do they allow, what activities do they allow and what activities don't they allow? And if you're thinking about moving down here, come down here, and if you can live down here, July, August, and September, you got it licked. That's my favorite time of the year because there's nobody here. I can go food shopping, there's nobody in line. I can drive to work, there's not as many cars in the road. It's like I kind of get my town back. I love it when it's the slow season. But to do business down here during the slow season, you're still going to have to create that income. You're still going to have to get your market built up. You're going to need that rental income, because a lot of guys make a lot of money in the high season and then they starve in the low season. And that's when you're looking into these condo complexes. Look at the maintenance. Do they have the money to do maintenance? Does it need to be painted? Is the pool in good shape? Look for leaks in the condos. So when Greg said, what about Europa? Look at Europa. Just because you can fix up a condo in Europa doesn't mean the ones around you are going to get fixed up. It doesn't mean the general maintenance is going to get done. That's a lot of points. A lot of people don't think. They just think, this is my condo from the door inside, and that's it. No, it's what happens outside has just as much effect on your property value as your income potential. If nobody's using the pool, if the pool's bad, if there's so much more that goes into it. And God, I really shouldn't say this, but I will. Let's say I don't think the economy is going to get much better. I think the economy is going to get worse, and I think a lot of the guys who are down here investing, because there's been a lot of construction, especially with all these condo complexes on the other side as you're going outside of town, back behind Superpola, a lot of these guys. So they're going to start lowering their rates. Now, if I want to increase my market share, I just lower my rates. So the people who are going to rent in a condo that's not as nice as mine, they have a choice. Am I going to rent in a really nice condo, or am I going to rent a somewhat nice condo? I'm going to get that market share. And with the digital nomads and coming in, it's easy to lower your price to get more market share, but you can't go up. So that has a lot to do with it. So I'm going to look at some of the. I got a lot of questions popping up, so I want to get into this. You said not to mix crowds. No, I have a very mixed crowd in Casa de Compai. I get couples, Canadian couples. I get guys are here to enjoy the girls. I get digital nomads. I'll rent to anybody, as long as you pay me and you follow my rules and regulations. I really don't care. I'm not the moral police as long as it's consenting adults. It's not my. This is Sosua, guys. And then once in a while, I get a couple. They'll be like, John, those guys brought in some girls. I'm like, yeah, that's what Sosua is known for. If you have a problem with that, don't come to Sosua. And I tell them that. I mean, you got to be honest with people. How do I deal with noise in my complex? I don't tolerate noise in my complex. It's just there's no reason to be loud at night. I'm not saying you don't play your music, but if your behavior is affecting other clients of mine, we can't have that. But I really don't have that problem a lot, because I've been renting down here for 15 years. People know pretty much what my complex is about, and my clients bring me clients. I do very little on Airbnb or VRBO. I get some clients. That's usually the clients I get when I lower my prices. If I have let's say I got a week and a half, 2 weeks where, I got 4 or 5 rooms open. I'll just go on Airbnb and drop my prices to get more activity, and then they usually come back. And I tell them, listen, I lowered my prices. This is my normal price. So that's one way, you increase your market share. But, it's a fine line, because you don't want to tell your clients, no, you can't have a good time. You can't do this. My clients are usually a little older too. They're usually a lot of retired police, a lot of retired military. Most of my clients are very respectful. We had a group of guys in last week, great guys. 3 of them were first timers. A buddy of mine, Ed, brought in 3 of his friends. And, in condo complexes, you don't always realize how noise carries. So, I have solid mahogany doors, and when they slam, boy, do they get loud. So the first 2 nights, slamming doors all night long. So all we did, my assistant Indiana said, "Hey guys, really nice, text guys, please, bear in mind, don't be slamming doors." And the response was, "Oh, John, sorry, we didn't even think about it. No problem, won't happen again," and it didn't. So it's when you have a condo complex or rentals in general, you're gonna have confrontation, you're gonna have conflict, and it's not always easy. It's never really easy. You just do the best you can with what you got, and sometimes you just got to bite the bullet. For me personally, I don't want to get off track, but for me personally, what I do is, here's your money back. You need to deserve you need to enjoy your vacation. You deserve to have a good time. I don't think it's here. Here's your money, go someplace else. So, everybody works hard for their income. Everybody has a dream and a vision why they want to be down here. Sosua is everything to everybody, just not all the time. So, that goes back into the point I'm really making about understanding where you're buying, because businesses are like people. They have a personality. Understand the personality of that condo complex, and understand who you are, and are you a good fit for that. It's not always price point. Sometimes it's best just to hold off and not buy it right away. Just don't buy to get into the market. Always remember, this is gospel. Write this down. It's very easy to get into property here. It's very hard to get out. What does that mean? That means it takes a special character or person who wants to come out and invest outside of his home country into a foreign country. We're not the norm, we're the exception. It's not like it's in the States where you have an up and coming area where you can buy and sell and buy and sell. Here it's not. I know people that sit on their properties for years before they sell them. So, understand that it's easy to buy here. Just passport and money. Boom. You're in. It's hard to get out. So, but all right. All right. I don't know how to pronounce this gentleman's name. I apologize. Your handle's tough for me. Basically, what he's saying, thanks for the response. I live in Puerto Plata, but in the States with my wife, we talk about titles. I've been waiting for 3 years. Guys, this is a good point. This is a real good point. My villa in Hispaniola, I got the title pretty much right after settlement, a couple months after settlement, because it was a long established property. 15 years ago, it was subdivided, built, and I was the third person to buy that villa. So once those, it's just an easy transaction. When I bought the garden condos back in 2010, it went from a hotel. I'll give you the whole story as an example. You will see this down here. Banco Santa Cruz took back what used to be Ocean One, what is now the garden condos. Banco Santa Cruz repossessed it, took it back from the owner. They hired Ron Blissett to go in and renovate it. There was one title, but there's 48 condos. So they had to submit all that paperwork to the federal government, to Santiago, or Puerto Plata, to Sosua. It must have took six years for me to get my title out of that. And the whole time, there's a bar right around the corner, Canadian owned. And when this happened, the Canadian dollar and the American dollar were almost 1 for 1. You're talking, this is like 2011, 2012. And Canadians are buying them left, right, and center. And the deal was, you pay 50% at settlement, and you pay the back 50% when the titles come in. And I remember being in that bar, and the old timers going, you'll never get title. Don't worry about it. And a lot of these Canadians believe the guys that have been here a while. This is why you don't believe everything you hear at a bar, let alone YouTube. You just take it as a grain of salt. Unless you honestly believe what they're talking about, take it as a grain of salt, including everything I say. But A lot of these Canadians, they didn't put that back 50% away when it was 1-to-1. And then 5 years later, boom, the currencies went back to their normal position where the Canadian dollar was 20% less than the American. So now instead of paying $1, they got to pay like $1.20. And when you're talking $25,000, it's a lot of money. So Ron Blissett in Banco Santa Cruz took 7 of those apartments back. That happens. I've seen that before. So just because it doesn't have title now, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Casa de Compai, it took me 8 years. No, it took me 2014. I got my title like 5. It took me a good 5 years to get my title from that. So titles are just, they take a long time. The problem is, not to get too sidetracked, is the inheritance laws. All it takes is one child, because the property automatically goes to the children. And if 3 children decide to sell and one of their siblings says, I never wanted to sell, now you got a problem. And also there were more titles in the land use registry than there were properties in the country. So the government's doing a good job of filtering all that out. That's why if you're ever walking down Sosua and you see these little round metal pegs in the street, they're satellite survey markers. They do a lot of drone survey here too. I had one done in Casa de Compai. So they're doing a real good job of getting all these titles back in. But that's something else you really need to make sure that everything is squared away for that title. And there's some good lawyers down here that can handle that. I've had 2 not title issues, but on 2 out of 3 of my properties, titles took a little while, just the process. But that was a great point. Thanks for bringing that up. So getting back to this, understanding where you want to buy. And here's something else, guys. If you're at that point in your life where you're retiring, really think hard about buying. Because, again, it's real easy to get into property and it's real hard to get out. I know guys who come down here who bought and they're like, I wish I didn't buy. I really want to go to Thailand, or I want to go to the Philippines, or I just don't like it here. I want to go back to the States. Now they're sitting on, $200,000 they put down in a condo or a villa. Rent. If you don't have to own your house as a retiree, rent. This way, you don't like what happens in the neighborhood, it gets loud, boom, I'm out, end of the month, see ya. That's something really big to think about. So yeah, make sure the condo complexes fit your lifestyle, read the rules and regulations, understand the different personalities of the condo complexes. And the other thing, if it's a villa, go online. DR1's good for this. There's a lot of guys like to chat on DR1. Tell me about it. Ask them, hey, anybody live in this gated community? What can you do? What can't you do? How's the quality of construction? Great. You got to use the resources. What I always believe, you ask the question, and then you try to justify, or you ask the question and you look to if the answers you're getting are true. So you throw that question back out there. Hey, I heard Hispaniola is a very noisy condo complex. Is that true? Oh no, I live there. It's quiet. So I usually ask the question the opposite way to see if I get the response that I'm looking for. You got to do your research. Got to do your homework. You got to have a good lawyer. Be careful of these. That's the other point I want to make, guys. Fractional ownership is coming back. I'm just going to say it point blank. Do not go there. It's a nice name for a timeshare. For my definition of it, I don't like it. It was big here when I first started coming here. Timeshares in this country, it's a scam. I'll say it. I'll probably get some slack for it. But I know guys who were selling timeshares. And usually when you get a company that's offering timeshares, that's the last money grab before they go bankrupt. They're just trying to get as much they can get out of that property before before they declare bankruptcy. So, yep. So yeah, that's that. Does anybody got any questions? No? Come on, guys. I know somebody's has at least one question. All right. Do you think the developments of Sosua Beach will kick off another burst of property value increases? Good question. James Richard wrote that. Let me repeat that. Do you think the development of Sosua Beach will kick off another burst of property value increases? I'll believe Sosua Beach is finished when it's finished. There's one thing I've learned down here real quick is believe it when you see it. If it's not done, don't believe it. So no, I really don't, because I think it's needed. It's not. Those shacks gotta come down, guys. They overstayed their welcome. You got too many people. They don't have the sewer. They don't have the water. They don't have the electric. You know. Do I have confidence that it's going to be done correctly the way that I would like to see it? No. I can honestly say no. I think a lot of times this country is successful in spite of itself. So, to answer your question, James, what is driving the real estate market here? What's driving the real estate market is the fact that the Canadians can sell their homes at such a profit margin that they can take the hit on the loss of the currency from the Canadian dollar to the American dollar and still buy a $400,000 villa. They're the ones who are driving the real estate market right now, because they didn't have the 2008 housing bubble like we did. So until the Canadians cannot pull out the equity in their homes, you're going to continue to see it keep going. I don't think it's going to keep going as intense as it was for the last 5 years, because I think COVID money had a lot to do with it. But is Bitcoin going to offset that? So, we'll see. I think the last time Bitcoin went for a run, I saw a couple guys. I know a couple guys personally that came down here and bought villas, and I hope it happens. I really does. I want to see everybody be successful. Ed says, walkability easy is key. If you're trying to do vacation rentals, if they have to rent a car, it makes it harder to rent. If they got to rent a scooter, even just as hard to rent. It makes it hard. A lot of people don't like driving here. I'm not a big fan of driving. I live here. Very rarely will I get on the back of a moto, but that's why it goes back to that square I said from Sosua Beach up along the highway, make a left where, if you can draw an imaginary line to where Club Residential is, to the ocean. That's the sweet spot, and you got some really nice income potential properties. I mean, a lot of nice ones on the ocean. But I used the three examples I used: Club Residential, Garden Condos, on Neptuno, because they're average. That's what most people are looking for. And as far as rentals, they're the churn. I call them the churn. Just this volume. He says his girlfriend Jessie rented an apartment on Calle Bolivia. Reasonable rent, but a 50-minute walk to ground zero location. Yikes. Yeah, there's no way I'm walking 50 minutes anywhere. I'm sorry, not happening. No, a 10-minute walk, 15-minute walk tops. And the farther you go from that beach in downtown, the less income potential you're going to have on your rental. Speaking of income potential, let me take a break, get a drink of water. In the meantime, guys, this is my business, Casa de Compai. All right, guys. Thank you for giving me that minute to take a quick drink of water. Yeah, that's my condo complex, Casa de Compai. I got 6 1-bedroom, 1.5 bathrooms. I got 2 studios and a 2-bedroom. Cigar lounge, pool, backup power. Yeah, that's how I survive here. But James, let me see. Travel Before You Die says, what do I think about Hispaniola beach condos? What do I think? I think I don't really have enough information to give you an honest opinion. I know I've been in there a bunch of times. It's a gorgeous location. Used to be one of the nicest beaches around before the storms of 2017. Love that beach. Great beach. What I would do, Travel Before You Die, is I would go to DR1 and I would put some kind of question out there. Hey, I'm thinking about buying Hispaniola Beach. What should I know? Who lives there? Would you buy there again? Come up with some kind of question that fits your needs, and then just see what the majority of responses are. And then I'm sure there's always going to be somebody who say, hey, reach out to me, send me a private message and I'll fill you in. That's what I would do. Because there's just too many opinions around. I kind of gave you, my opinion on Hotel Europa, but that's just my opinion. There's people who love it. So you really gotta weigh it out before you have to weigh it out. So yeah, thank you, Greg. Greg says great advice. Sneaky Link says, Compai, did they finally ban creep cams? I don't think they'll ever. I think that if they ban them, how can you enforce it? At the end of the day, they're hidden creep cams and glasses and other stuff. I think when there's too many people doing it and it wears out its welcome and it'll just fade away, and then there's a cycle to everything. But what everybody needs to realize, the first crackdown happened because 2 guys were really pushing the whole Sosua pay-for-play thing. Cuba Dave and Andy the Hobo Traveler. And Cuba Dave got thrown in jail in Costa Rica for doing what a lot of guys do down here. So just food for thought. One other thing, Classico downtown, just a little update. Classico, they're redoing that. They took the roof down on Merengue. So a prominent person, Dominican in town, bought it. I saw him in there today working on it. So that'll be great for downtown. Let's get that back. That was a great place back in the day. I used to enjoy going there. So, what else? Anybody have any other questions? Oh, James, I was able to. James Richards says he was able to qualify for a mortgage on a villa. James, I'd like to know what bank you got the mortgage at. Was it a 5-year balloon based on a 15-year amortization report? Yeah, there's my old condo complex in the garden condos. It's funny we're talking about this. When I sold my condo and the garden condos to a good friend of mine, and I bought his villa, so we could just kind of swap properties with with a lot more cash on his end that I had to pay him. But he just told me today that a couple of days ago he had a mortgage rep come in and get an appraisal of the apartment. So yeah, evidently they're doing mortgages for condos as well. So I don't know the whole process. I know from Banco Santa Cruz, one of the banks that I bank with, that's how I know it's a 5-year balloon on a 15-year arm. But James, if somebody's doing something different with a better mortgage, I would like to know about that, because that will increase property values quicker than anything, because that's why we don't have the bubble here, because we don't have bank money inflating the bubble. It's all cash money. So we're starting to see that, especially with the Dominicans. A lot of the Dominicans are down here, and they're building all these little condo complexes behind Superpola. So that's where I think the real investment opportunity is going to come, is when these small condo complexes like mine, Dominican owned, who have a mortgage, aren't getting the rental income they want, what happens in 5 years when the bank takes them back? I think all you crypto guys, you might be able to jump into a small little condo complex like mine. And guys, it's a great life. You know, I have an assistant in Indiana now. She does check-ins, check-outs, the day-to-day. And I do a lot of my work here in the studio. That's why you're seeing a lot more videos coming out. Because I can't just go to the beach every day. I don't drink like I used to. I can't do it. Too old. Body doesn't like it. But, so yeah, it's I think that's where the real opportunity to get into property is going to happen in 5 years. Ronald Burton says, what about Blue Spring Properties? I never heard of it. I have no idea. He says, if you looked at a condo where they said, all I needed $5K down, I would then have to pay it all off in 2 to 3 years. So basically they're holding the mortgage for you. They're allowing you to do it. All right. I tell people, if you can't move into it, don't buy it. There's so many unfinished condo complexes down here. Stay away from them. When I bought in the garden condos, I was one of the original owners. I was bought but I could walk in, I could get my furniture in there, I could take a shower, I could still use it, even though it wasn't 100% done. It was usable. If it's not usable, be very careful about buying it, because what a lot of these guys do is they come down with enough money to get that project going, and then they require the money coming in from pre-sales to finish it. I know there's a property in Playa Chiquita that never got finished because of that. There's a bunch of them on the North Coast that happen a lot. So that's one of the things you want to stay away from. Or if they're offering you timeshares, stay away. So, you know, Ron, good luck. I don't want to tell you what exactly to do. Would I do it? Not in a million years. No way. I've made enough bad business decisions in my life. Unfortunately. Am I a hoser? I don't know what a hoser is. Haitian Gunman said, "Are you a hoser?" No, is that like, you know, am I from like Indiana? No, I'm from southern New Jersey, not North Jersey, South Jersey. Guy said you should check out La Isabella. You can rent right on the beach for $150, all included. I have no idea. Okay. Ed says he agrees with Hotel Europa. It's great if you live there full time, but if you're trying to rent it out in the dead season, good luck, to each his own. Actually, Ron, that's exactly the property that I was referring to. We're on the same wavelength there, brother. Yep. Okay. Greggy's from Lindenwold. Now, I'm from a small town in South Jersey called Tuckerton. Most people don't even know where it's at, but I'll help you out. It's exit 58 on the Parkway. If you're ever going through from North Jersey to South Jersey and see all those pine trees and they say don't stop there, those people are pretty strange. Well, yeah, that's me. But guys, anybody have any other questions? Also, what do you want me to, because I'm going to be doing this every Tuesday, 8 o'clock Dominican time, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And so I'm going to continue on this buying series. So if there's anything specifically you want me to talk about, throw it in. And guys, listen, if I don't know it, I'm just going to tell you I don't know it. So throw it out there. You know, that's one thing, guys. I know what I know, but I'm not going to bullshit you about something I don't. What do we got? We got Obi the Newbie says, wife's president's family's invested into, so yeah, Seahorse Ranch. Yeah, I know, the president of the country, he's a North Coast guy. That's why you're seeing a lot of stuff get done. The cleanup started years ago, it just got put on hold for COVID. Not that I want to keep talking about the cleanup. I did it because it was important. We needed to know about it. But when you got somebody in a position of authority who's Dominican, who's redoing Classico and Merengue bar, and they got the federal government saying we're moving everything to the other end of the town. I think there's a little conflict there. So we'll see what happens on that. One of the things how I handle my life down here is I believe it when I see it down here. I'll take it all in. I'll talk to the people that I'm friends with who are Dominican in positions of authority. But until it's done, I don't believe it, because I can't say what I really want to say on a YouTube channel, but there's so many reasons behind the scenes for projects not to get done. And it's not my country to say how it should change, what direction it should go. It's just, I need to accept it. As a foreigner, and especially as a foreigner doing business down here, I come at it from the perspective it's a privilege, not a right. So the last thing I want to do is jeopardize my livelihood and everything I worked my whole life for to get here because I have a YouTube channel. So I pick and choose my words as best as I can. Because again, this isn't how I put food on my table. I do it for fun, and I enjoy doing it. Throwing in the advertisement and stuff like that. So I'm having fun, and I want to see people. I've seen too many people lose money down here, whether buying a restaurant, buying a bar, buying a condo and villa they just don't like in the end. If they would have just taken their time and did a slow roll instead of listening to people that are trying to make money off of you, and especially on this platform of YouTube, there's a lot of guys peddling a lot of stuff, and you really need to have some really good discernment on who's just trying to get something out of you and who's actually trying just to give you good advice. Guys, I'm not trying to sell you property. I would love for you to stay in Casa de Compai on your next vacation. That's how I make my money. Been doing it for a long time. Hope to continue doing it for even longer. But just take everything with a grain of salt down here. Believe it when you see it. There's a lot of talk. Remember, shady people hang out in the sun. Expat rule number 1. The Dominicans will get you for $100. The Gringos will get you for $1,000. That's expat rule number 2. Go on my channel. I got 5 of them that I did videos on. You want to know the drama, aka love stories? Not the guy for that, man. No, sorry. I appreciate it, but no, that's not what I'm not into it. Well, guys, we've been doing this for a while. I really want everybody to understand that the difference in where, I'll bring this still up again. The difference in places where everybody should buy. The sweet spot, Sosua Beach going along the highway. You got the ocean to your left, and if you go from like Infinity or Hispaniola Beach and just go towards the highway, draw a line, that's pretty much right where Club Residential is. Boom. That's the sweet spot. That's where you get the best return on your investment for income. And guys, actually, here's something else. If you're going to be coming down here and wanting to get into the rental market, the market has changed dramatically, especially since COVID. The Americans come down, they want big beds, fully air conditioned, big TVs, they want a fully functioning kitchen. I got guys who are asking me now, John, why don't you have washers and dryers in your units? It's gotten to that point. But they still want it for $65 a night, which doesn't make sense, But if you're not going to be able to get the income potential that you want because the market wants more, they're not happy. This isn't 10 years ago where they're like, we're in the Caribbean. It's no problem we don't have power. It's okay, we'll just go to the beach. No, guys are staying in their apartments all day. And they're not going to stay in their apartments all day when it's the size of a shoebox. So really, and that's really make sure you understand what the market wants now. They want space, they want luxury, they want bells and whistles. And I just dropped a lot of money redoing my condos, and I just built them in 2017, and I redid all of them. You know, so you have to stay current, and when you think you're done, you're just going to get ready to start over again. You have to be on top of your rentals down here. Guys, beat up your place. I'm telling you. My good friend Manny just had a guy take a bathroom vanity, a long one, a nice wide bathroom vanity, and smashed it down. Just broke the anchors holding it, and then broke the shutoff valves for the hot water and cold water, and flooded the apartment. This was at 2 in the morning, you know. So guys, yeah, it's tough. It's tough, and that's something else. You got to make sure the condo complex is fully staffed to be able to handle something like that. Is there somebody there to call you if that happens in your apartment? Because a lot of times these guys just do a run, and they're like, I'm out. I'm not paying for this. I'll go to the other side of the island and then change my flight to Santo Domingo. I'm not fly out of Puerto Plata now. And good luck catching them. So, yeah, that's something else to think about. You got to know who you're renting to, and it's these guys. They want it all, and what I get in Casa de Compai, I get a lot of guys who have the same girl. They want to bring hey John, I'm coming in at 5. Can my girl come in at 1? She's going to go food shopping, and can you let her in? Yeah, sure, no problem. Here's the gate code. Let her in. So that's good when you get clients like that. But no, it's a different market than it was 15 years ago. You don't have good enough internet, you're going to hear about it. It's and I get it. Guys are paying. I know guys. I know landlords who are getting $1,900 American for January, February, each month, $1,900. So when somebody's paying that kind of money, yeah, you better be able to provide that kind of service and that kind of product. So, it's gotten to that point, and that excites me, because it's like what Ron said. That's what's going to drive the market, is having that kind of client base come down here and rent that and keep pushing that forward. And that's what we need. You can't move a community forward on $40 a night rentals. I don't want to say we're not appreciative of that client base, but it's just not enough profit in that 40-night rental to maintain that property, to improve it. It's just not there. It's just financially not feasible. I just give you an example of what things cost down here. Yesterday I just bought a fiberglass American-made hot water heater, 50-gallon. It's a pressure tank, 50-gallon pressure tank for Casa de Compai, and I bought a 20-gallon pressure tank, fiberglass American-made for my villa. Of course, everything breaks in twos, right? 1,100 American. So it's expensive. So that's why you want to make sure, if you're going to invest that money into redoing those condos, that the condo complex is able to meet your improvements. What I mean by that is, all right, here you go. I said this the other day to a buddy of mine who owns in Club Residential, and he said, there's guys in there who are putting washer dryers in, dishwashers, convention ovens. I said, but here's the problem, and this is what nobody thinks about. When you have a condo complex that is that old, when you start throwing in 3 air conditioners, because everybody wants, when Americans come in, the first thing they do is turn on the AC to the lowest setting they can put it to. Hopefully they're going to close the windows before they do that. A lot of times they don't. That draw on that electric coming into the complex, that extra demand, is that feed from that meter in that condo to that meter socket for that condo, has that been upgraded to handle all that extra amperage and voltage? What about the meter that handles that condo complex? Is that been upgraded to handle all that extra voltage? It's fine when it's 1 or 2. And I said this the other day. I said the guys who come down here and have 1 or 2 Airbnb rentals, they're like know-it-all adolescents. And the guys the old guy on the front porch who has the wisdom is the guys that have condo complexes down here for a decade. Because there's so much more to it than just decking out your condo. The other thing nobody thinks about when they do this, when they throw in the washer and dryer. Because I had a client say, hey John, when are you putting washer and dryers in? Never. And this is why. It's easy to do this when you have 1 or 2. You can't do this if you're running the whole condo complex. And things are going to change, and I'll get into that in a second as well. When you have the washer and dryer, the dishwasher, right? The demand for that water, because Americans, we're wasteful people. We'll run a load of laundry on large for two or 3 items and consume all that water. We'll run the dishwasher for a plate, fork and knife, and a cup. We won't wash it by hand. We'll run that dishwasher. You know, what they don't realize is water's one of our biggest problems on the North Coast. Electricity, water, and traffic. You can't, there's days I don't get water from the water company for 3 or 4 days. If I don't manage my water consumption in Casa de Compai, I'll be buying a water truck. I closed my well down 6 years ago because the water coming out of the ground was horrible, just unusable. So I have to call a water truck. So these older condo complexes are not set up for the modern condos that are being renovated. Something's going to give. That's why you'll never see washers and dryers in Casa de Compai, especially when I'm only renting them out for $75 to $85 a night. It doesn't merit the investment. It doesn't merit the water use. It's just one more thing to break, one more thing to replace. And God forbid if I have a leak that leaks down to the condo beneath it or 2 condos beneath it, and I have all the nice sheetrock ceilings put in with all the lights and change color because that's what the client base wants. Now I got to repair all that, all for $75 to $85 a night. It doesn't make sense. The money isn't there yet. If it was $150 a night, now we're talking. So the amenities, the rental rate has to follow the amenities you put into your condo. Otherwise, you'll go bankrupt. Yes, you're going to get your market share for 1 or 2 apartments. But eventually, what I believe is going to happen is the condo associations and the gated communities. And I've had this conversation with the gentleman who owns the gated community where I'm at, who I pay every month. And I tell him all the time, doing business in the community where I live is a privilege, not a right. I'm subsidizing all the Airbnb businesses around me because they require, and it holds the same thing for the places, the people in the condo complex. It's the same thing. They require more security because you're checking in more girls in and out, more trash pickup because they're partying hard, right? Electric consumption, and even though those condos are individually metered, it's still using. Eventually, the condo complex is going to have to upgrade the transformer on the pole because it's our responsibility for that transformer. If it goes bad, if it needs to be upgraded, we got to pay for that. The condo association or the individual owner like me. So you have all these staffing, the pole. These are all things those individual condo owners don't have to worry about when they're running a business because the whole complex pays them. So basically, these guys who are doing Airbnbs are piggybacking off of the owners who don't in these gated communities. And I said to the guy that runs my place, I said, why are you not charging $1,000 fee a year to be able to have a rental in here? Because they're using our services that my HOA fees pay for. I'm subsidizing these guys to play their music at night. And he just kind of looked at me. I said, yeah, your guys are chasing all these girls down. They're telling people to put their music down. They should be doing security. not babysitting. So it's just going to be a matter of time before all these condo complexes say, you know what, we need a fee for you to do business in our condo complex or gated community. And since I'm on a rant, let me keep going on a rant. There's actually legislation that the president needs to sign to get everybody who has a rental into the tax system. I got my tax. I have to pay taxes. I have my employees. I got to provide them health care. I pay for their retirement. But these individual condo owners, they don't have to do that. So they got a leg up. They get the benefits of running a business, the same business I have, without all the overhead. So that's going to change because the president is just working out the taxes on how to tax these guys before he signs the bill. I did a video on that in the spring. I thought that would have been done by now. I can't wait. Just like all these real estate agents who just came down here post-COVID, if you shouldn't be able to do business down here like that unless you have a cedula. You need to be part of the system. You got to be legal. And it's a matter of time before all this comes about. The changes that I've seen in 15 years, it's almost a different country, how things have changed, how more efficient things have gotten, how more, I don't want to say above the board, but more organized in how things operate. So think about that when you get into doing your investing if you want to become a vacation rental guy. I don't want to scare anybody, but I love it. But there's things you got to take in consideration. This is good. Okay, James, I asked him earlier. I said, hey, I asked James, what kind of mortgage did you get? And he said he got a 3-year fixed rate on a 25-year loan. So you're that payback period for that loan, James, that's 25 years. So you and I understand that it's a 3-year fixed rate. So every 3 years for 25 years, you're gonna have to redo your interest rate. Okay. So actually, that's not bad. And that's with Scotiabank. Scotiabank's I believe it's a Canadian bank. Mm-hmm. Ed said, "Yep, bingo. Infrastructure, electrical grid, water supply, sewer. Sewer's a huge one too." Mm-hmm. Yep. But guys, I still think when it boils down to it, the Dominican Republic is the best bang for the buck in the Caribbean. We just got so much property. We're so big. Outside of Cuba, we're it. And Lord knows what the heck's going on in Cuba. I actually had a guy tell me back in 2017, John, you're a fool for doing what you're doing. Cuba's opening up, and everybody's going to go to Cuba, and you're going to be out of business. Well, didn't happen, buddy. But guys, unless somebody has a question, anything they want me to go on a rant about, guys, let me know if there's something specific you want me to talk about for next week. I would like to expand on this, and I'll plan that out as well. But if nobody has anything, I think I'll say goodbye. And I appreciate everybody watching. I appreciate people because 21 people are watching me now, and that's been going on a while, at least an hour. I mean, for me, time just does not go fast here. I appreciate everybody watching the channel. Subscribe, like, hit the notification bell, guys. I appreciate it. And if you're coming down to Sosua for a period of time, guys, give Casa de Compai a chance. I would really appreciate it. Come meet my staff. I got a great staff. You'll be dealing with them more than me. Probably a good thing. Indiana, the young girl who runs it, she's fantastic. Augustine, my main guy, he's been there for, wow, 8 years. Wow, 8 years, yep. So yeah, it's a good thing. But guys, I appreciate it. Thank you for everything. Guys, have a great week. I'll probably be putting some more videos out towards the end of the week. I might go to the beach tomorrow. I don't know. If it's not raining, it's still raining here, guys. This is crazy. It reminds me back in before I moved here. We almost lost the 2 bridges. We almost lost the bridge in Sabaneta. We couldn't use the roads going to Mocha or the tourist road, and we almost lost the bridge in Imber. That's that real big bridge. I remember I was going to the airport in Santiago, and I was on Caribbean tours, and they stopped in front of the bridge. We had to get our suitcases out and walk across the bridge, and I'm looking down, and there's bulldozers building cofferdams. They were worried about that bridge falling. Yeah, and this year reminds me of that. And I remember it specifically because I had to walk across that bridge, and they wouldn't let cars go. No cars across the bridge, definitely no buses, nothing. Yeah, and it was just so much water in that river. It was incredible. And this reminds me of that. It sure does. All right, guys. Thank you. Have a great week. Peace out. And remember, keep private personal and personal private.